What's up YouTube, it's a Zero Option here with episode 3 of Spellbook Tips of the Fast Plays, and in this episode I'm going to be going over an optimal first turn Reaper hand, and this hand involves having Spellbook of Secrets, Spellbook of Judgment, Spellbook Library of the Crescent, and 4 Prophecy, so it's only a 4 card hand. And we're going to start our play by activating Spellbook Library of the Crescent, and we're going to select Spellbook Starhall, Spellbook of the Master, and the Grand Spellbook Tower. And depending on what our opponent chooses, our play will follow accordingly, but for the sake of this example we're going to select Spellbook of the Master, and I'll go over what happens if our opponent chooses Spellbook Starhall and the Grand Spellbook Tower afterwards, so we'll just put these back into our deck for now. And now we proceed by activating Spellbook Judgment. And I'll just keep, actually I won't, I'll send this to the graveyard and I'll just summon a token to keep track of the counters. And we'll summon 4 Prophecy. And we'll activate the effect of 4 Prophecy. And we'll send Spellbook of Power to the graveyard. And now we'll activate Spellbook of Secrets, and we'll get Spellbook Starhall from our deck. And we'll place a counter on the token, and now we'll activate Spellbook of the Master, and we'll fill our Starhall, and we'll copy Secrets in our graveyard, and we'll fetch the Grand Spellbook Tower from our deck, and we'll place a counter on the token, and now we'll activate Spellbook Starhall, place another counter on the token, and finally the Grand Spellbook Tower, placing our final counter on the token, and also a counter on Spellbook Starhall. And I'll just quickly note that you don't actually have to go for the Grand Spellbook Tower or Spellbook Starhall. You could go for a Spellbook of Fate or Spellbook of Wisdom if you wanted, but you wouldn't be able to get 4 counters, and 4 counters is quite nice for what you get to summon during end phase. So now we do go to the end phase, and first we'll activate the Fool's effect, and this will allow us to summon a Reaper of Prophecy from our deck, and we'll activate Reaper's effects to summon Destroyer. And we'll add a Judgment Day, since Judgment Day can't add Judgment Day, so we'll add it with Reaper. And we'll just take a look at our graveyard to confirm we have 5 different names, and we do. We have Spellbook Library of the Crescent, Spellbook of Judgment, Spellbook of the Master, Spellbook of Power, Spellbook of Secrets, and Spellbook of the Master. And now with Judgment, we will add, really we could just add whatever you want. Let's just say we want a Spellbook of Fate, maybe we want a Spellbook of Life, maybe a Wisdom and a Secrets. And here we could summon a Magical Exemplar, or we could summon a Lila. We could summon an Exemplar because next turn if Reaper somehow gets removed from the field or Destroyer, we could revive it. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to summon the Lila. So we'll remove the token, and the Lila will mill 3 cards. So not very good mills, but as you can see, this is our first turn field. We have a Spellbook Starhall with 1 counter on it. We have our Grand Spellbook Tower face up on the field. We have a Lila, a Reaper, and a Destroyer all face up on the field. And we also in our hand have Spellbook of Wisdom, Spellbook of Fate, Spellbook of Secrets, another Spellbook of Judgment, and Spellbook of Life. And in our graveyards we have 5 different names in our graveyards, not including the mills from Lila. And we also have a 4 Prophecy. So now I'll just cover what happens if our opponent chooses the Grand Spellbook Tower. So if our opponent chooses the Grand Spellbook Tower, we'll get to add that to our hand, and we'll put Master and Starhall back to the top of our deck and shuffle. And now we'll summon 4 Prophecy, and we'll activate Force F. So we'll send Spellbook of Power to the graveyard. And there's a reason why I'm sending Spellbook of Power. It's because if you were to go second and your opponent summons a monster, you would basically be able to achieve this same sort of setup if you remove if you put Spellbook of Power in our optimal hand and you remove Spellbook of Secrets. So there are a number of ways which you can get this play off, and a number of different optimal opening hands, which can kind of depend if you go first or second. If you go second, then definitely Spellbook of Power would be a part of that, but if you go first, it's Spellbook of Secrets. And also, depending on what your opponent chooses with Crescent, if you have a Spellbook of a Master instead of Spellbook of Secrets, it can still work. But you kind of have to get lucky with your opponent choosing a Spellbook of Secrets off of the library. But continuing on, so we sent our Spellbook of Power to the graveyard with full Prophecy. So now we activate Spellbook of Judgment, and we'll summon our trusty token. And we'll activate Spellbook of Secrets, and we'll search Spellbook of the Master. And we'll put a counter on the token, and we'll activate Spellbook of the Master, revealing our tower, and to copy our secrets, and we'll get Spellbook Starhole. And now we'll activate our Spellbook Starhole, and another counter on our token, and finally the Grand Spellbook Tower, putting a counter on our Starhole and the final counter on our token. And during the end phase, it's just going to be like what happened in the previous example, because we have exactly the same Spellbooks in our graveyard and we have exactly the same things on our field. So I won't go through the hassle of summoning Reaper again. It's basically just going to be exactly the same thing. But as you can see, if our opponent chooses the Grand Spellbook Tower, it's basically the same result. So now I'll show you what happens if our opponent chooses Spellbook Starhole. So if our opponent chooses Spellbook Starhole, we'll add it to our hand, and we'll shuffle Spellbook of a Master and the Grand Spellbook Tower back into our deck. And now we'll summon Full Prophecy, and we'll use Fool's Effect to send Spellbook of Power to the graveyard. And again, I'm just sending Spellbook of Power so you guys can see that even if you were to use Spellbook of Power and attack over a monster, you would get pretty much the same setup. So now we activate Spellbook of Judgment, and we'll summon our token. And we'll activate Spellbook of Secrets, and we'll search our Spellbook of a Master. And as you guys could probably tell by now, it's pretty much the same thing which is happening, because we're going to use our Spellbook of a Master to search our Grand Tower as well. So we'll use our Master, we'll reveal our Starhole to copy secrets, and we'll add our Tower. And now we'll activate our Starhole and our Tower. And as you can see, we've got exactly the same build as we had in the previous two examples. So this is pretty much the first turn opening hand. It requires 4 different cards. I would recommend playing Secrets of 3, obviously. I'd recommend playing 2 to 3 Judgment, 2 of a 4, and 1 to 2 Crescent. I definitely recommend playing at least 1 Crescent, because I feel like opening up with Crescent is definitely worth playing at least 1. And you can always send it to the graveyard with full if you don't draw it. So that's the sort of play, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and this is your option signing out, and have a nice day.